It's November 3rd, 2016, almost exactly a decade after the flood of 2006 that did so much damage to Mount Rainier National Park. Today, I've decided to visit the Carbon Glacier. Back in the day, many years ago, you used to be able to drive the Carbon River Road all the way to the glacier. Before the flood of 2006, you used to be able to drive up to Ipsit Creek Campground and then make a short hike to the glacier. Today you can start at the Carbon River entrance and bike about 5 miles up to the Ipsit Creek Campground and then hike to the glacier. An example of how things have changed in this area since the flood is the Green Lake Trail. It used to be a nice, popular, short hike from the trailhead, a mile to Ranger Falls, which are gorgeous, and a 1.8 to Green Lake. And now the trailhead is 3 miles up the road. So you either have to hike an extra 6 miles or head up on a bicycle, which actually doesn't take very long at all. Now I'm at the Shanus Falls trailhead. This used to be a 0.2 mile hike to some pretty cool falls where you actually cross over the river. Now the trailhead's about 3.6 miles up the trail. These foot logs that are put down in order for hikers to cross the creek are put in every year, and quite often they wash out. In fact, if we continue a little bit further on, you can see they've already washed out for this year further down the trail. One of the things they do to try and salvage these things is they chain them down. You can see this one here is cabled to a tree in hopes that if it does wash out, they can fish it out and put it back up for next summer. Here's another example of damage done by flooding here in the Carbon Corridor. This here is where the Carbon River Road used to go. So you can see it's been washed away. So for now, the trail, former road, is rerouted here. So as the Carbon River comes off of the Carbon Glacier and makes its way downhill, deposits boulders, rocks, trees, sediment along the way. And as you can see looking out here, this is one of the primary problems and the reason this road is likely never to reopen. As it does this, deposits this, the bottom of the river rises, and at this moment that is the base of the river bed. And if you look over here, you'll see that it is just about the same elevation, if not a little bit higher than the road. In some places, Superintendent Randy King told me the river is actually 30 feet higher than the road. This is the Ipsit cabin, damaged severely in the flood. It was dismantled, reassembled, and according to Park Superintendent Randy King, could be back online and in use by rangers and backcountry trail staff as soon as the summer of 2017. So from Ipsit, we head out on foot. Nice trail here. You can hook up to the Wonderland Trail in a short hike, and it's about 7 miles round trip to the Carbon Glacier. It's another area that was damaged by flooding in 2006, another section of trail. Short walk from the Ipsit Creek Campground is Ipsit Falls. A bit further up from Ipsit Falls, and we're on Mount Rainier's most famous trail, the Wonderland. The Wonderland Trail was washed out here in this section in the 2006 flood, and it's been rerouted across the river. Don't count on them being here, but at the moment we have some cairns marking the way. A few steps across the river, the first view of Mount Rainier on this trip. So here on the rerouted section of the Wonderland Trail, looks just like a trail, and it is, of course, but once upon a time it was also a section of the Carbon Road, closed because of flooding, and turned into a trail. You definitely don't have to cross the Carbon suspension bridge if you don't want to on this hike, but it's here, it's really cool, and you might as well. Here's where our trip is taking us today. This is the terminus of the Carbon Glacier coming down from Mount Rainier. A pretty impressive sight. And now it's time to head home. And once we're back at ITSIT, we got a nice reward for all that hard work. A 5-mile coast to the car, all downhill.